My name is Paula Allen. I'm a Canadian resident and taxpayer. The time I really started to love reading was probably kindergarten, and I just loved the Sam I Am books. I love books because it's like an adventure, an escape, another opportunity, an experience. Elementary school, that's when COVID started, made it so we had school online for a while. Through online school, I started reading a bit more, books that were descriptive in nature. Middle school, that's when it really got worse. It was more open, more readily accessible, and it was normalized. I hadn't had a phone until this year. The stuff that I accessed online was a lot more roses and happy, like romance books, maybe kissing, but it wasn't descriptive about explicit sex. The books that I had found and had been recommended were definitely that, explicit sex. When I started reading books like that, I started reading more because it was more open in middle school. It piqued my interest and I started to read more like that, probably because I was just beginning to figure out human nature. My hormones were beginning to change, I started my period, and I was really good at learning. Like, I'm a good learner. I love to learn. I found everything I could on it and I got heavily into that stuff. It became an addiction. I had to read something like that or I didn't get that fix of dopamine, whatever you want to call it. It progressively got worse because I found out what it was and what they do. Basically, I felt like I needed that connection with someone. So I went online and I chatted pretty much with pedophiles and a whole bunch of other people just trying to get that connection. I put myself and my family at risk. I acted like the character in the book, like life was the book for me. In my mental view, I was struggling so badly. I just didn't completely understand it. It was an escape, the only thing that would make me happy. I was a super extroverted kid, but the more I read this, the more I thought, I don't need friends, I just need this connection. So I started distancing myself, not only from my friends, I grew to hate myself, others, my mother, my sister, I hated everyone. As I continued to get worse, I started lying more and hiding things. I had to go to juvie a few times because of my bad relationship with my mother. It definitely stemmed from normal romance because I loved that love connection that was stated in books, which can really be beautiful. But then it went something more explicit, and the explicit content definitely brought me to that point. This necklace, it's a safety pin. It's a chain. It's a suicide prevention necklace, and it's a promise to stay alive. It's a safety pin. People literally make brain neurons that connect to the thought. As a kid, if you read that, you can't get it out of your head. You can't just close the book and forget about it. It ingrains itself in your brain. It will be there forever. You can't get the innocence back, and you will not be able to unsee those words. So when people say you just can close the book if you don't like what you're reading, I heavily disagree. You're given that book in the first place. You're going to read it. You have that in your head. If it's in schools, it's affecting people that it's not helping. And they're being suggested. It's being normalized by teachers, librarians, peers. So it just recirculates into teenagers and it's given over and over. They can't see what's right or wrong. It's like putting a blindfold on someone and expecting them to run. Fourth Wing, that was heavily influenced by peer pressure because it was a very popular book. Everyone read it, and it was a popularity contest to see who knew what was in the book. A friend of mine recommended it, specifically had those pages marked. The point isn't about romance or cute love story anymore. It's about getting the reader in that aroused state. That shouldn't be in a children's library. Why let schools have this on the off chance that it'll help someone when actually it's more harmful than helpful? I think that if that teacher hadn't initially recommended that author, I wouldn't have seen it as quite as normal. I don't think the librarian even knew how much of a butterfly effect that would be. I'm sure she was just trying to share a cool story with an awesome reader. I don't think she understood how detrimental that book was in my hands. I wish I could go back. I would take all those stupid books out of my hands. Just let myself be innocent, because it's hard to stay innocent these days. So just let them have it for as long as they possibly can. If you're watching this or you're listening to this, you're used to reading books like this, I advise you set them down for a long time, like 3 months, and then see how differently you act and how differently you think. I have been able to be happier, more genuine, and nicer person. And just know that there's always someone that's going to stick up for you. If it has to be me, let it be me, because I can say what you need to. I can say what people need to, even when they don't understand what they need to, if that makes sense. That was a 15-year-old girl's testimony. of what the books with descriptive words.
Well done.
Ms. Allen,
Yes,
just
ma'am.
a clarifying question, is that a student from Cameron?
Oh my gosh.
Would it matter? Do all kids matter to you?
Of course.
Okay.
Don't even ask me that question. I'm
Oh.
insulted that you would ask me that question. I'm part of a governing
Okay.
body for the schools in Cameron. So I'm asking if that student was a student from Cameron. That's
No,
a fair question.
no, it is not, but it is a
Thank you.
true testimony, and I
I'm
will
sorry to hear
send
that.
you the video. It is a true testimony.
I
So
believe you.
if it affects one student,
I believe you.
that's 15-year-old young lady,
It's terrible.
if
I
it
agree.
affects her in this manner, what is it doing to other kids? We have
I hear what
1,600
you're
kids in
saying.
our district.
I asked the question if this was a student that we can impact, and clearly it's not. So
We don't know what the words are doing to our kids.
I understand.
It's obviously
Thank you,
impacting
Ms.
some
Allen.
negatively, and kids are kids whether they live here
I
or
appreciate your
in a
opinion.
different state.
I don't
All
agree
right.
with it, but I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Allen. We're going to move on to items for consideration.